What about the 2022 Russia-Ukraine war has defied expectations and conventional wisdom about warfare? Susanna Viljanin. For any active or reserve officer, it was crystal clear after the day one, Russia is going to lose the war. An expedition intended to bully your opponent into submission is doomed to fail if the opponent makes determined resistance. It is just that some people never learn. Neither Westerners nor Russians. Westerners, because they fail to understand war is about the struggle of human will against human will, not material factors against material factors. Westerners only stare at the numbers and leave other things unobserved, and Russians, because they repeated each and every mistake they did in the Winter War. It is a different thing to go to bully your neighbor into submission, or to wage a war against a determined enemy. The day one was crucial. If Ukraine had not displayed the will to fight, it would have been a parade march to Kiev. But they had grown a pair after 2014. The Ukrainian military, their leadership and their nation has shown an incredible will to fight, and they have demonstrated will to defend their country and their legitimate order of their society. But they did. The Russians met resistance they did not expect, and it came as a terrible, demoralizing shock to them. Now, who had this bright idea on attacking Ukraine during the Rasputitsa? Morgoth should have known better. It makes sense if your intention is to bully your target, but absolutely none if he resists. Now the ground has turned into a quagmire, and the wheeled vehicles are stuck. Since all fuel trucks and other supply vehicles move on wheels and not on tracks, the Russian logistics are now bound to railways, and it is one of the reasons why they have not made any advance. Wars are decided in the air, and the Russian aerial services have failed miserably. Not only they have failed to attain aerial supremacy, but it has been as if they had had no idea on how to use paratroops. Heck, even the British planned their drops better at Arnhem, and even the German Fallschirmjäger managed to capture Crete in the end. One of the main reasons is doctrinal. In the West, the Air Force is an elite arm, something trained as well as possible, to be equipped with as good equipment as possible, and to get as many flight hours as possible, and maximize their survivability. In Russia, the Air Force is nothing but flying artillery intended to support the ground forces, and understood as expendable. The Russian pilots are mediocre at best, their training leaves a lot to be desired, and the Russian aircraft are expendable at best. They are cheap to acquire, but expensive to maintain. But one picture lies more than 1,000 words. Look at the beer gut of the major in the right. It indicates bad physical shape and poor fitness. Aerial combat, especially dogfighting, is one of the hardest forms of combat a soldier can engage, and it is utterly exhausting. My cousin said losing a kilo of weight was nothing unusual in maneuvers. The major at the right is not merely overweight, he is fat. For a pilot like that, engaging aerial combat becomes impossible. He can fly only straight and low, which makes him prone on surface-to-air missiles. And for apparent reasons, the Russians haven't been keen to fly such missions. Turned out also the Russian whole fighting doctrine is flawed. If war was a game of chess, the Western militaries would create immensely powerful chess pieces who would be able to move and maneuver on their own. The Russians would instead create a humongous amount of pawns, but also make chess masters who would be able to lead them into victory. Sounds good? Unfortunately, this doctrine goes hand in hand by top-heaviness. The chess pieces, the units and their commanders are not encouraged for individual thinking and initiative, but instead on being micromanaged. In the Russian culture, finding the one who is guilty when things screw up is on primary importance. This leads quickly into a culture of lethargy. If I do not do anything, I cannot commit any failures either. Such lethargy leads into need of micromanagement, which is lethal on the battlefield. When nothing happens and no initiative is made by the chess pieces, those chess masters need to go to the board to micromanage their pieces. And they get sniped. Russia has already lost 3 generals and 5 colonels for snipers. One colonel, the commander of the VDV regiment, was killed in action on a failed mission. I always say never salute me when the action is on. Being an engineer officer is like carrying a humongous bullseye reading shoot here. The Russian army is extremely conservative and hierarchical, and the snipers have it easy to sort out the leaders and to neutralize them. It is a devastating blow on the morale of the troops. All in all, the Russian army is the same steamroller as in 1914. Impressive on paper, not so much in the actual action. 71.6K views. View 3,310 upvotes.